It was a scorcher this week. We got some hot comic books to chat about. All right, so I'm looking at this list, courtesy of CBSI comicbookinvest.com. And here at number 10, we have a surprising book to make the list. We don't have Veronica issue number 28. That book has gone way up, skyrocketed to almost $200.
Wow.
No, we're talking about Veronica issue number 23.
Okay.
Veronica's sitting in a chest. She is the treasure at the end of a rainbow, sitting in the sky, sunbathing in her matching heels bathing suit. This is a book seeing a few sales in the $10 range, but we are seeing this spike up to $70 for a high grade copy. This is those almost good girl style covers. Collectors are after them. Keep an eye out for issue number 19 that features her in a pile of money.
Moving from one end of the spectrum to the kids' end of the spectrum, coming in at number 9, we have Boogly Heads number 1. Now, this is the Fink 1 and 2 variant. This is selling for $10 to $15 right now. This is an interesting one because Gus Fink actually came out with this kids' idea Boogly Heads, and they have toys and they have blind boxes, and it's been around for about 10 years now. But this comic, printed by Devil's Due Press, was released this last week. The Gus Fink variant is a 1 and 2. If you ordered 2 of the main cover, each shop got 1 free one. But again, it's an indie book that not a lot of people ordered, so it's going to be relatively scarce. And we have Nervasa420 who tagged us and said it was his favorite read of the week.
Thanks for that tag. We do appreciate that interaction on Instagram. Looking at the list here, at number 8, we have Immortal Hulk issue number 2. The 1 in 25 Virgin variant by Alex Ross.
Right.
Wow, that's a whole mouth load. But what happened? Well, we thought we were getting a black and white version of the hit comic book, the first appearance of Dr. Fry. Same cover, just with some green lettering and black and white. But last minute, Marvel decided to make a change and release a Joe Bennett version, abandoning that black and white version, leaving only this Virgin variant to be sought after. This 1 in 25 Virgin Alex Ross variant is now seeing peak sales at $55. Keep an eye out for it. We also want to give a congratulations to IamCray765, who just got his first print back from the CGC at a 9.8.
That is awesome. I know a lot of people were upset about that last-minute change. Coming in at number 7, we actually have a Queen Sonia number 23. Now, this is the Lucio Perillo variant. Most of these Red Sonia books, these Dynamite books, these Queen Sonia books were a 50-50 ratio. So whatever you ordered, you could get the main cover or you could get the variant cover. This one went from 25 to 55 this week.
That's quick.
Crazy. A lot of these Perillo variants are seeing movement. Really cool cover. There's also some other really underrated covers in the Queen Sonia run. There's a Jan Leto cover that was fantastic. And I know Gabriel Delato actually had some really great Red Sonia covers around this same era. So if you're looking for fantastic cover art, you can find some great ones for not too much money. These ones just happen to be expensive now.
At the list at number 6, we have the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Freshman Force number 1. We have a new variant that they made. And oh my goodness, after the recall notice, after the cease and desist that was sent by DC Comics because of the Carla Cohen cover, they didn't like it. Well, they came back with another cover, only this time she's Supergirl, and they are calling it the Desist variant. So they don't care. They're going to risk it. And there's only 500 of these made. And this book is already shot up to $60 to $80. Happen real quick.
Wow.
What do we got at number 5?
At number 5, we have Black Widow. This is actually volume 4, the 2010 volume, number 2, the Hans 1 and 20 variant. As CBSI mentioned, it's a ghost, but a 9.8 sold for $460. Went and looked at the print run in May 2010. There were just about 23,000 copies of this book. So at the absolute most, there's 1,000 copies of this book.
Whoa.
And quite honestly, there wouldn't be that many copies of this book. It's probably more in the 200 to 500 copies range of the 1 in 20 variant. And you can assume that the larger places like Midtown are the ones that would have bought enough copies to get variants like that. It's a really beautiful cover. Again, the book's almost 10 years old at this point in time, and it was a 1 in 20 variant from a point in time where people just weren't buying a whole lot.
CBSI mentions that they had no clue about it. I didn't either. Maybe some people get lucky in the community and put it on their hunt list. All right, looking at the list here at number 4, we have the Fathom number 1, the J. Scott Campbell. This is the appreciation variant. We talked about this last week. That book, it was spiking, but this book blew past $100 and now is selling for $150 plus. All right. Fans of Fathom are excited about it. Fans of J. Scott Campbell are still aggressively buying it. And we're seeing other issues from this run start to sell. There's a renewed interest in this run, and fans of Michael Turner are appreciating that as well. I also want to give a shout out to the Merca Blue Rainbow exclusive variant. There was only 200 of these made. This was low-key, just flew under the radar. It's gorgeous. I also have to give a shout out to the Dan Mendoza Virgin variant. This thing's so dope. Color works great.
Now, this is a monumental time. This is a really, really important thing. And it's been 16, 17 years coming. For number 3, we have Walking Dead 191 and 192.
I didn't think this was going to happen, man.
No, but if you're watching the TV show, if you're reading the comic book, this is something that's been a long time coming. You knew what was happening with Carl. You knew what was going on with Rick. And really, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but still was a surprise.
People are going out and buying Walking Dead, dude. A lot of people are talking about this. We saw Rick die in the show. He dies in the comic book.
Right.
All right.
This should be no surprise to people.
It shouldn't be. I stood there. I took a step back from the mail call as we were assembling it. You handed it to me. I opened it up.
Tom, read this right now.
I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it. I posted it on Instagram without a spoiler.
Right.
And it still hit me. I remember reading this book. I used to, like, back when I would take really long vacations from trying to get away from the bank.
Sure.
That bank life, I was terrible. I would go to this sushi place, and they, it's like the belt sushi, and I would sit at the very far end. They'd always give me a table far away from everybody else, and I'd read my compendium of Walking Dead.
Right.
That black and white goodness, that Kirkman goodness. And I heard Kirkman talk about The Walking Dead with the Guru back when we visited New York City for New York City Comic Con in 2018. And it was in a private setting, and Kirkman was very bold in saying that AMC has nothing on The Walking Dead. Like, Walking Dead is their best show. Fear the Walking Dead is their second best show. Everything else doesn't really matter. Someone in the audience said, "What about Preacher?" He said, "Nothing else really matters." Everyone laughed.
Right.
So, like, he firmly believes that Walking Dead has the legs to be on television for like another decade. That was his words. And you know what? Making a change like this in the comics, it's a bold move, but I like it. This is the root of Walking Dead. This is how that story goes. People come in and they get taken out. It's brutal. It's mature, but damn, it's good.
No, and it's absolutely something that had to happen. We have to see the torch being passed because Rick is past his prime. We have to move on. Now, something really interesting. While this book, 191 selling for 15 to 20, which again is Death of Rick, and 192, 10 to 15, which is, can I say it?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Carl killing zombie Rick?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, really, I was totally shocked. But the awesome thing is that next month, to coincide with number 193, there is a commemorative cover. It's a beautiful side profile of Rick, and it says 2003 to 2019. And it's really a nice homage to Rick and what a fantastic main character he was for so long. So be on the lookout for that one next month. I think this commemorative book is going to be one that a lot of Walking Dead collectors are just going to have to buy.
You've been putting 3 issues of Walking Dead every month on my shelf.
Since before Ezekiel came out. I mean, that's a lot, right?
For real. All right. What do we got at number 2? Because Batman Beyond is making the list.
Batman Beyond number 6. And incidentally, if you're following what volumes, it's the first volume. That first 6-issue mini-series almost, where they've got the Six Flags variant, right? So number 6 is the first appearance of Ink. I did my research. Ink was created by Bruce Timm, who, as you may know, Bruce Timm co-created with Paul Dini, Harley Quinn. So he has created some fantastic villains and villainesses. Ink seems very cool, amazingly powerful, and as I read up on her backstory, she almost killed Batman multiple times, and 4 of the times that he had to fight against her, he had to bring in backup, which is really kind of a rare thing, especially for the animated series. The really interesting thing, I couldn't find why this is spiking for any reason other than it's kind of a cool character, and it's an older book. Okay. This is Volume 1, 1999. This is 20 years ago. So when they talk about how this book was found in dollar bins and now they're selling for $40 to $50 and a 9.8 sold for $230, it's moving. And I'm not finding an actual real reason. So if you have information, if there is a TV show, like, comment, tell us down below, because I couldn't find why Ink's first appearance is spiking other than she just seemed kind of like a cool character I'd never heard of before.
Maybe just an interesting female lead people are speculating on. Love to hear from the community. Shout out to Gable's Comics, who pulled that really creepy Joker variant, that deceased variant. And he also picked up that Miles Morales 6 that we're going to be giving away here in a second. But we do have number 1 that's just screaming on the list.
You know what? Number 1 is... All right, Tom. I got chewed out pretty hardcore last week.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't think I can do number 1. You
made a lot of people mad.
I did.
All right, I'll take
okay.
over. I'll do
Thank
it.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you. I appreciate it.
Number 1 on the list, we have the Rick and Morty Roland and Harmon 1 in 25 variant set. Now, we were reporting last week that we were seeing $600+ sales. And you mentioned that people were already listing them for $1,000+ and that you expected them to land there.
Right.
All right. Well, we're seeing multiple sales hitting above 900, some peaking at 1,000. It looks like this set's going to go for over $1,000.
Yep.
And you know what? Rick and Morty collectors, they're serious.
They are diehard. I mean, anything Rick and Morty that comes out at my shop, I know it sells. I carry a lot of Rick and Morty stuff. We've sold tons of the coloring book. We've sold stickers. We've sold board games. We had the Mr. Meeseeks box where you pressed it and said Meeseeks stuff. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a Rick and Morty fan. I just didn't personally like the comic book, but Rick and Morty sells. And I cannot tell you how many people come in just looking for anything Rick and Morty. So, you know, they are a rabid fan base. It's awesome.
We got to mention that issue number 1 at 9.8 literally this week sold for $1,000. Wow. Okay. There's a 1 in 50 variant that goes for $2,500. And I also have to mention the Rick and Morty Pocket Like You Stole It. This is the Nerd Block variant. There was this subscription service in Canada that went bankrupt. They went out of business. And you can't get their subscription box.
Right.
But if you were subscribed to them or were like looking for their stuff and you want to get a subscription service, hit the link below because you can join ours, the Mystery Mail Call. We send you comic books every single month.
Nice.
And we're still in business and you can keep us in business and join the community. But this Nerd Block, this subscription service, they went out of business before the exclusive number 1 comic went into their box. And then when they went bankrupt, they put a cancellation notice, recalled it, and supposedly only 50 of these exist. This only like 1 in 50 comic book routinely sells for like right around the $400 to $500 mark. It's recalled. No one knows about it. I think this may be the rarest Rick and Morty comic book to exist.
It very well could be, unless there's actually a 1 of 1 where Dan Harmon wiped the comic book with Szechuan sauce out of his mouth. That might be rarer than this one. But there are consistently 7 to 10 of these Pocket Like You Stole It Nerd Block variants on eBay, and yeah, they are selling for a good amount of money. Crazy. So Rick and Morty, get hunting.
We do appreciate CBSI, comicbookinvest.com, for like covering these types of sales, reporting on them, and keeping the community up to date. We do appreciate them. And also, if you like this type of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We talk about a lot of comic books throughout the week. We definitely don't want you to miss any of the videos.
We also don't want you to miss any of our giveaways. And you know what? Last week, we were giving away a copy of Miles Morales #6. And Tom, who won that comic last week?
Marisol, congrats. Thanks for commenting down below. Let us know what you thought about this list. What was your favorite comic book? What was your least favorite comic book? Let us know, and we're going to send you what? We got at least 1 copy of that Walking Dead 192, right?
Absolutely. This week, we have a near mint copy of Walking Dead 192 that will be shipped out to you. So like, comment down below. Tell us what you think of the list, and yeah, one of you lucky folks will get a copy of that.
And then, as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough.
Said, if you want to see me and Ryan and Tom try to put together a vintage board game, click the link right here. And we also have a great honorable mentions video of books that weren't quite hot enough to make the list down below.